It's been nearly 3 months since Russia detained WNBA star Brittney Griner. Today, a judge extended her detention by another month. These are pictures of her leaving court today, handcuffed, wearing an orange hoodie and with her head down. A consular officer from the U.S. Embassy in Moscow was able to speak with Griner today and confirm that she is, quote, doing as well as can be expected under what can only be described as exceedingly difficult circumstances. Earlier this month, the State Department said that the two-time Olympic gold medalist was being wrongfully detained. Griner was arrested at a Moscow airport in February, accused of possessing vape cartridges containing oil derived from cannabis. If convicted, she could face up to 10 years in a Russian prison. Joining me now is Nayyera Haq, former senior State Department advisor and former White House senior director under President Obama. Nayyera, thanks for being here. So, the fact that they're extending this detention for a month, it definitely raises the profile of this case and makes it more worrisome in a lot of ways. We've all been kind of keeping a little bit mum a bit on Brittney Griner, not trying to turn her into, an even more valuable hostage. But it feels like that moment has passed.
She's clearly an asset for the Russians to try to use against the United States as they navigate this new space of the United States effectively being at war with Russia, despite the fact that technically Putin invaded Ukraine. We know the United States has supported Ukraine with munitions, with drones, and now we are seeing that Brittney Griner, one of our star players, is being held effectively hostage in Russian prison. 3 months without trial, another month. That's 4 months before she even faces a judge. We have not seen any evidence to say that she actually was carrying marijuana, an offense that in Russia would give her 10 years in prison. We are now seeing that her family, her lawyers are concerned. They are raising the ante. The WNBA itself is now expected to soon launch a petition to gather more players in support of Brittney Griner because they're worried about not only about how she's doing, but the fact that sports is now becoming a political pawn.
Well, and clearly, I think this is the end. Russia is a pariah state. I don't see a whole lot of WNBA players who, let's just be honest, because of economics and because of the pay disparity with NBA players, that's why a lot of them play in the offseason overseas in places like Russia. That won't be happening anymore. I think that's done. But what leverage does the U.S. have? Right now, at this moment, as you said, we are arming Ukraine in a war against Russia having invaded them. But, we did manage to get back Trevor Reed, the Marine. So it is possible there are still back channels. What can the State Department at this point do?
Russian state media is saying that there are negotiations going on back and forth. In speaking to Brittney's team earlier, that does not seem to be officially the case. So they are clearly trying to use Brittney as a pawn in some kind of discussion or negotiation and have leverage. Now, the challenge is, of course, she's been in and out of that country for 10 years. Russians are probably not very happy that the woman who won Russian team championships is also now in prison. So this is an entirely different level than what we've seen with the charges against Trevor Reed or Paul Whelan, who were in prison for almost 2 years, who were accused of espionage, themselves having former military backgrounds and experiences. So separating Brittney as her own category, as somebody who not only had deep Russian connections and acknowledgement, but also is part of that broader effort of sports diplomacy, right? We're supposed to rise above these political tensions, above these moments of war, and be able to connect as human beings. So this is a different type of violation now that we can put at Putin's feet.
We haven't heard much. I haven't heard anything from the Kirsten Sinemas of the world, the Mark Kellys of the world, the senators from Arizona, where Brittney plays. Have WNBA fellow teammates and NBA teammates spoken out?
We saw just on Tuesday that Phoenix Suns star player Chris Paul entered the arena wearing a Brittney Griner shirt. He said that he sees himself in her. We are now seeing that the WNBA has launched a campaign with We Are Brittney pins that can be bought, and the proceeds now can go to the Phoenix Mission campaign. So we're seeing the NBA players stand up for their colleagues and their counterparts. The WNBA players are planning to launch a more active, proactive campaign as soon as next week, because they are starting to see the risk is not only to BG, as they call her, but to the rest of them and the continuation of their international profession.
Yeah, and her being a black LGBTQ woman, it just makes it even more complicated. And we would absolutely welcome any WNBA officials, et cetera, and players to come on and talk about Brittney anytime. Nayyirah Haq, we thank you for being here to talk about this important topic.